Hello everyone. In today's video, I'm going to be addressing the quite literal elephant in the room. Okay, so the elephant behind me is known as Ganesha. Ganesha is the deity associated with the root chakra. Before I explain that connection, I'm going to explain what is a deity. So a deity can be explained as a being that pervades on the causal plane of existence, which is basically one leg below source consciousness. Source consciousness meaning whatever the Big Bang created, whatever it emanated, that is source consciousness, that is God itself, that's where everything exists. Basically, one way to explain it is if you think about cloud computing. What cloud computing is a central database, a central area for many different accounts to connect to. So it's this like central database where the cloud as a whole has stores all the data that has ever existed here on Earth. So similarly, that's what source is. It has all the data, all the memory of everyone that has ever existed, everything. It's what was there before the Big Bang and what is there that's still propelling life today. And so these beings are one leg below that. So if you're someone who understands quantum physics, I believe quantum physics hypothesizes that there are 12 planes of existence. These beings would be the beings that are in that 11th plane. Okay, so Ganesha himself, as you can see, he's half man, half elephant. I'm going to try to make some sense of that for everyone who doesn't understand. So these deities, they look the way that they look because of the culture that has seen them, meaning they will reveal themselves and they will show themselves depending on that culture. These Hindu deities, these Vedic deities, are the oldest ones that, the oldest designs that we have in record, because these are the designs that were drawn and depicted and described by the ancient Sadhaks years and years ago. I believe we're talking about several thousands, at least 5,000 to 7,000. I'm trying to think back to when I was in Nepal. I was in the area like where they, went and originally drew these forms. But that's not to say that Ganesha hasn't appeared in different forms, in different pantheons. And that's what's really interesting about this, is if you go look at the Egyptian pantheon, the Greek pantheon, or the Aztec pantheon, you can see that there are forms of deities that have similar stories and look somewhat similar in form. And the explanation for this would be that for Ganesha, for example, if he were to exist on the causal plane of existence, the causal plane of existence is basically like Ganesha is sitting there and he's got all of these different, he's basically all these different video games out in front of him, and every single video game that he puts in, when he goes on there and starts playing as that character, that's one of his astral forms. So Ganesha, for instance, could have a video game that is based in Egypt, for instance, where he has his Egyptian form. And maybe he has, you see what I'm saying? It's kind of like select a character screen, where Ganesha exists in the causal form, he has his Egyptian, his Aztec, his other different forms. And why is it that Ganesha is special? Why does he hold this position? The reason why I argue that is because in the Vedas, they have so much expansive knowledge that completely outperforms what is currently recorded and kept from these prior civilizations. That's not to say that the Greeks and the Romans and even the Native Americans didn't know all of this themselves. It's just to say that they didn't have any way of record keeping, or those records have been completely lost, because for the most part, the Vedas, they have everything mapped out, the entire cosmos. They talk about higher lokas or higher, quantum physics would say higher different dimensions of existence, and lower realms, lower lokas, or lower realms of existence, lower dimensions. And so yeah, the way to think about dimensions is kind of like, if you've seen Horton Hears a Who, it's basically to say that, like, either that or Ant-Man Quantumania, where he shrinks down so small to the size of an atom, where that atom is basically a planet. And that's to say that that's what a lower realm would be to us, where like all those we see these microscopic germs, that's a lower realm. In a sense, it's probably, you know, even smaller than that, where we are not even able to sense it, where it's, you know, smaller than vibration. But that's to say that outside of that, it is quite literally like Horton Hears a Who, and I'm realizing that as I say it, Horton Hears a Who. He was an elephant and he sees all of the Whos. That is a really good way to actually imagine Ganesha. But don't be scared, right? Because he was so scared of protecting the flower. But it's kind of like an atom where you can't splice an atom. We're all safe in our little, you know, flower bubble or whatever they showed. It was a snowflake or something that they showed in Horton Hears a Who. But yeah, that's kind of a way to understand Ganesha. So when connecting with him, the benefits that you'll receive, overall, it's like helping you remove obstacles, helping you with abundance, helping root and ground you down. If you're someone who's in your head a lot, it basically grounds you down, makes you like, you know, more aware of your surroundings, makes you really calm, less anxious. Like, as you can tell right now, I've been talking about Ganesha a lot and focusing on the root chakra a lot, that I'm very calm and I'm talking slow. Another thing is it's associated with the color red, the root chakra is. I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent here now. I was talking about root chakra. I'm going to go talk about the colors of the chakra system because this is cool. You have red for the root chakra, orange for the Swadhisthana chakra, yellow for the sacral chakra, and the heart chakra is green, the throat chakra blue, the third eye is violet. They're both purple, but as you can see, if you go by, it's like violet, Roy G. Biv, indigo, violet. So those are both like purple, but that's kind of the sense it does go indigo, violet. It starts to get to that one where then it's like, okay, well, the mixture of blue and purple, or sorry, blue and red is purple. So what comes after? Is it red or a different color? Who knows? No one knows. But yeah, it does go by the order of the rainbow, the chakra system, like Sumar Prism does. So it's not random. That is not random. That took me a little bit to actually probably I understood that a little bit too late. Like, no one ever explained that part to me. While I'm on that topic, I hope this can kind of blow somebody's mind, but I never realized this because this is my wallet and it's destroyed because I purchased a new one in Nepal, but they only had ones that were like too big for my credit cards and like they would just fall out. Like, it doesn't make sense. But this is the Om symbol, as you can see from up there. This is the Om symbol. But I didn't realize, it took me a while to realize that when you flip it this way, it's O and M, like how we would read it in English. This is Sanskrit. I haven't talked about Sanskrit yet. That's actually something I should touch upon when I talk about mantras, because the reason why mantras work the way they work is because Sanskrit is a language where it's the sound themselves is the meaning. So in English, we point at a tree and we say that's a tree, but it's just we're pointing at something. Tree encapsulates an idea. These mantras and the Beejas are the actual sounds of the deities themselves. So Ganesha is the shape of the deity. So the sound is the shape of the deity. So these are not random. These are drawn and depicted and heard when seen from the when experienced. Okay. And so I'll go back into, I talked about the benefits of Ganesha, and now I'm going to talk about balancing the root chakra. First, I'll talk about what an imbalanced root chakra looks like, because this can be things like not being able to get enough adequate sleep, falling asleep when you shouldn't be falling asleep. It can be problems with abundance, problems with security and stability, problems with, not having, a bed, and the simple basic necessities, anything like that. Ganesha is the remover of all obstacles, so he'll make that path clear for you. But yeah, the chakras can either be overactive or underactive. They're never off or blocked. All right, it's if it's overactive, it means you're overeating, you're oversleeping, maybe you're like me right now, and you're kind of very relaxed. That's not necessarily an overactive chakra. It's more so to say that being in that mode, the mode of relaxation, and staying in that mode of relaxation for long periods of time could be seen as an balanced root chakra. If you're just kind of like lounging around and you have all of your needs met, so you don't have to go around, and your safety and security is almost too much. So you can kind of see this in children who grow up. If they have all their needs met on their own at a young age, then this could be seen as an overactive root chakra. So when they grow up, they'll learn to almost be more dependent on others for that, because their entire life they've had all their needs met, and so now they feel like they need others, and they'll be over-reliant on others still today. Whereas someone with an underactive root chakra, where they didn't have all their needs met at a young age, they may still not have their needs met today, so they might be undersleeping, they may be struggling with their finances, they may be like under-eating, things like that. And so the idea is Ganesha needs to step in to help you balance the two. There are many different ways you can balance the chakras. One thing to note is you're the only person who can balance your chakra. Don't go to somebody else. You don't need to pay anyone else to balance your root chakra. That is not the way to go. Like, Ganesha is the best guide when it comes to that. And the way to do that, this is the thing, I'm doing this live, so I'll forget some of the times. But yeah, the mantra associated with Ganesha is Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. So this is one thing you can do in the morning. Alternatively, I'll make a separate video talking about Ucchista Ganapati. Ucchista Ganapati is a version of Ganesha. When I was talking about kind of like, the whole selected character thing, right now, Ucchista Ganapati is the character that Ganesha has selected. Meaning right now we're in the Kali Yuga age, which means that's kind of why things are the way they are, where, there's no dharma, which means like people aren't, going out on adventures. They're just, same day, in and out. Everybody's in the same kind of like boring cycle. And there's a lot of like, lower chakra desires being expressed, is the best way to put it. Where a lot of wars are happening as well. We're in the Kali Yuga age. But the thing that's nice about that is Ucchista Ganapati is very accepting, meaning he takes the leftovers, meaning everyone's welcome, meaning it doesn't matter if you are, a drug addict on the street, right? He will take you in and help you. It doesn't matter if, you've done something bad in your past, whatever, Ucchista Ganapati will help straighten you out. Okay. And then the other one that I was going to, Lam. Lam is the Beeja mantra. I can talk about Beeja mantras. It kind of, skipped my mind for a second. But Lam is the Beeja mantra associated with the root chakra. So what a Beeja mantra is, in my last video I touched on it a little bit. And I'll have another video expanding on it a bit further. I'll also probably leave another video below talking about it from a different YouTube channel. Okay, so yeah, Beeja mantra is, as I talked, we have this causal plane of existence, right? And so Lam is one of the seed syllables, the sounds heard on there, associated with the root chakra, basically saying, whatever, the causal plane is what causes everything to happen, to have that trickle down effect. So having a mantra on the causal plane, you know, one below source, is basically saying this is the sound, this channel that, you know, we can make that will help balance out that root chakra. What I recommend is start with Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha at first. The Lam mantra, you can do that as well, but do one at a time. Don't necessarily experiment with both, just because the only reason I say this is not that you can't, you like, go crazy, do whatever you want, but like, I just recommend that because for me, it's I think it's smart for you to like first learn to meditate, come to a point of stillness, and when you do the mantras, you kind of want to feel, because it's very much like an experiment, right? Like, don't take my word for it. Like, you're meant to experiment. If this doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you, right? So that's really the idea, is try one at a time and see how it does for you during that day. And then maybe the next day, you know, I would say be consistent for at least a week. But then, yeah, you can change it. You can start saying Lam instead of saying this mantra. I will also talk about the Ucchista Ganapati mantra. I don't have it off the top of my head. I have the Beeja mantra version, but there's a Nama mantra version as well that I'd like to share. I believe it's just Om Ucchista Ganapati Namaha, but I might be missing a part in there. And that's the thing, is I'm trying to do all this in one shot, and I'm not reading a script, as you can tell. Okay, so yeah, I explained the elephant in the room. And then I also just want to, I'll just reaffirm some things I said last time, because the video quality didn't come out so well. I got a new phone, I didn't click the 4K button, and so now we're in 4K, which is cool. So yeah, some of the things I said last video, my mantra practice is the Beeja Mantras. That's all I do in the morning. There's a set of 18 that I'm doing, and they're associated to deities. But you can do the Beeja Mantras that are completely unassociated with the deities. Like there's the one that I mentioned, Lam. You can go and Google search the Beeja Mantras and look them up for yourself. But the ones that are associated with the deities, that's just kind of like, you know, prescription. You know, like you go to a doctor and you get something prescribed to you. Because Hinduism really encompasses and encapsulates like 1,000 different belief systems. Like in India, like it was really just the white men being like, oh, we don't really understand what's happening here, let's just call it all Hinduism, because there was the Indus River, and they just Indus, and they kind of took Indus and made it like Hindus, and then called them Hindus. And yeah, so it's a culmination of so many different things. That's why I don't share these Beeja Mantras, because I'm trying to give general knowledge, and this is kind of saying like, okay, I already found a path that's unique for me. I won't share that at this time until I've, you know, reached the end of it. But yeah, because the other mantras, it's kind of like those are the ones that are like, you know, off the shelf, like you can go to the pharmacy and grab them. But when it comes to like the whole Beeja Mantras and the whole 18 mantras, the thing that I'm doing, it's kind of like you should have a prescription and then check back in with your doctor or your guru. Just for like, you know, safekeeping. But yeah, thank you all for watching today's video. Jai Mahakal.